everybody? So we're back talking some more of the Wheel of Time Season 2, Episode 4 dropping this week. We had 3 episodes drop all at once last week. Now we're back to 1 episode per week, which I'm okay with because I feel like the first 3 episodes definitely needed to drop all at once. Episode 3 was when the stories, for the most part, started to gain momentum, building towards some really exciting events, and that does continue on into Episode 4 with some unexpected revelations as we jump between various storylines. As you're well aware, if you watch the series, you would know there are quite a bit of storylines in the Wheel of Time. I'm going to do my best to go through every single one, and if you have seen the episode, share your thoughts down below in the comment section. Firstly, there's Moraine, who's going to travel to visit her younger sister, but in actuality, she's pretty much just going because she's trying to track down Rand, and Rand seems to be a very difficult person to locate. As for the majority of Episode 4, she's trying to piece together a route from where he was working with Logain to the remnants of where the inn once was. While it isn't something that is delved into too deeply, I did find it fascinating that Moraine goes to reunite with her younger sister, and it isn't exactly a warm welcome. Turns out she has not seen her younger sister in multiple decades, so it's not like they're a very close family whatsoever. Even some of the details inside of the house I found so fascinating. One of the biggest ones is Moraine looks at the painting of her and her younger sister, and Moraine pretty much looks the exact same as she did in the painting. We do know that Aes Sedai aged much slower. Over time, it feels like we are trying to peel back the layers of Moraine's backstory. We haven't seen a whole lot of her backstory yet, but we're kind of getting pieces of it little by little. In Alana's conversation with Lan later on, we find out that something happened to Moraine a long time ago that kind of changed her. And of course, because I haven't read the source material, I don't have that knowledge yet, so I am very excited to find out what these events are if we get them in Season 2 or somewhere down the road. Something I am much more worrisome about is the fact that the villains in this show continuously seem to be getting stronger and stronger, because we see Ishmael seemingly doing what Moraine thought that he might do and go and wake up some of the other Forsaken. And I don't know who this character is really. We don't have a whole lot of info to go off of, just it's a very scary, bloody entity that we get a little bit more info about at the tail end of the episode. From the little I've seen of the character, they seem pretty scary. I wouldn't want to mess with them. At this point in time, I can't help but have some level of sympathy towards Rand, due to the fact that you can tell that he just has no idea what to do with his powers, and that is something that scares him and why he tries to isolate himself, because he does not know how to control it. He doesn't want to hurt anyone, especially the ones that he loves, and it seems like Selene still accepts him for who he is, which at the time seemed like a very sweet thing, seeing their romance intensify, but I was very wrong reading the situation. Now, a story I've come around to a whole lot in Season 2 that I get excited for every time we pan back towards them getting the focus, it's Perrin. I think it's so much fun seeing Perrin, and I was continuously trying to figure out more about his abilities and his connection to wolves. Some of the stuff that comes along with these abilities doesn't sound overly appealing, some of the more primal aspects, but the overall skill set, I'm very excited to see more explored as he gains more access to these abilities. Based upon what we saw with Nynaeve coming back after the trial of the Arches, it's not hard to see someone coming back to the real world after those events pretty traumatized, considering the fact she had a family in there and a child and all that's just gone, wiped away. Egwene's trying her best to be a supportive friend, but it's not really working, which is unfortunate because that is something that Egwene consistently feels. She's trying her hardest to help out Nynaeve in any shape or form, but it seems like no matter what she does, she can't truly help her. Out of the majority of this cast, the one I always find trouble trying to figure out their true motivations is Liandrin. She just overall comes across like an extremely sneaky character. You never truly know, even when she's talking to Nynaeve. You have this conversation between the two of them, which is amazingly heartfelt. I actually overall like the contents of their conversation, since it presents a fascinating perspective in the world of the Aes Sedai and the struggles they go through, because they do age a lot slower due to the One Power, and it almost feels like a curse because as you age slower, you have to watch all the ones that you love age and die, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that is one example we saw earlier on with Moraine and her sister. Moraine pretty much looks the exact same, while her sister has gotten much older. But still, Liandrin as a character is a very tough cookie to crack, because then she tells Nynaeve that there's trouble where Perrin and Loial need help. Nynaeve decides to leave the White Tower and helps Egwene sneak out, and Elaine follows suit, but they do get caught by Liandrin, and she decides to just knock all of them out. We don't really know exactly where that's going to entail for the future, but it doesn't seem good if they're all just getting knocked out down there. Out of everybody in this show, it seems like Lan is the one that's living the most peaceful lifestyle, even if he is dealing with the whole effects of him being cut off from Moraine. But for the most part, it seems like he has a good thing going here with this village of people, trying to figure out his next step in life, whether or not maybe he goes back to Moraine, or maybe even possibly, since Nynaeve may need a warder, since she went through the arches, he could fill that void. I'm not entirely sure which of these options I would want more for Lan as a character. Maybe Lan going off with Nynaeve, other than the whole fact that we saw that vision of him with Nynaeve and having a family, then he gets brutally murdered. So maybe all of that besides the murder part at the end. Most of the stuff that's left in episode 4 are things that I'm excited to see develop more in episode 5, like Lynn and Matt going on their adventure, and Lynn being confronted by Ishmael to bring Matt to Kyrie Inn, which seems like Matt can never get a break in this show, whether it's the stuff with the dagger and the trauma that came with that. He's locked away in a tower by Leandrin for so long, and now he finally gets out on the road, and he potentially is going to be turned over to Ishmael in the Forsaken. This was something that I joked about in my review for the first 3 episodes of the Wheel of Time Season 2, but I really meant it. It seems like almost strategically, every single episode has an action sequence in the last 10 minutes or so. The one in episode 4, not all that exciting. It's just Rand completely decimating a Fade. It still was very cool just to see Rand showcase some of his abilities. But the bigger thing that came along with this sequence is the reveal that Selene is a pretty nefarious character. I think the big giveaway once we got the flashback with Ishmael was the hair. The hair was the biggest giveaway for me once we put the 2 and 2 together. What an entrance when Moraine finally does figure out where Rand is, just brutally stabbing Selene and slitting her throat. Obviously it doesn't kill her or anything, but it incapacitates her enough for them to get a quick getaway. So that is where we leave off episode 4, and I cannot wait to see where we go with all these different storylines in episode 5. But now I've heard my thoughts on episode 4 season 2. Make sure you share your thoughts down below in the comment section. How did you feel about episode 4? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? Share all those thoughts, because part of the fun is having that conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. Thank you guys, as always, for videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. But next time, I'll see you guys later.